Good morning. Nice seeing everybody fellowshipping and talking, but I guess we'll go ahead and get started. In the church, the vision's always been part of it for foreign missionary work, and of course it's a lot easier to support foreign mission work when you have good foreign missionaries. And so y'all know Ken and Karen Buckner. We've been working with them for 13 years now, and we're looking forward to him coming and sharing with us what God's doing in his work in Zambia. A lot of different things going on, new things. So at this time, Ken, if you'll come on and share with us, we'll see what you have for us. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I think we will start the meeting proper. Shall we pray? Gracious Father, we're thankful to be here today in your house. We're thankful to be among your people. We ask you to cleanse our hearts, prepare us for this day, prepare us for these next few moments. The message that you have, we pray that you'll speak it loud and clear. Remove the humanness from all of us, Father, as we get out of the way and let you speak. Let you speak through us and through the hearing, and guide us to the rest of this Sunday school class. In Jesus Christ's name I pray, amen. Will I get technological, get ready. Cut the microphone on? Yeah. Oh. Did y'all not hear a word I said? Sorry about that. Science and technology.
Make sure it's not muted.
It is muted?
No, make sure, let me see.
It is not muted.
There we go.
Now you can hear what I said. Well, I was speaking to God just a minute ago, and I think he heard me. I hope he did. So, all right, good. All right. So, I'm so thankful for Miss Annette. She helped me last night when she didn't need to be out of the bed. She was exhausted. You guys are blessed to have her part of your church, and she does a great ministry. She's a great missionary because she is continuing the mission of the church and helping missionaries get their job done when they come along. But I don't want to take up too much time. My name is Ken Buckner, missionary in Zambia. I'm here today with my wife Karen, and some of you know her. If you don't, it's my beautiful wife Karen. And I'm also, this next picture is just Karen and myself posing for pictures on the mission field. But I'm also blessed to have a woman here with us today who I've called my mother all of my life. And I hope to continue to do so. She brought me into this world, and she can still take me out. But she's been traveling with us for a couple of weeks, and we're happy to have her. Marilyn Sims from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I think it was about 2019 she was able to come to Africa and stay with us for about a month and live out a lifelong quest to be on a mission field. And God blessed her on that trip. It was about 30 days. And she said as she got off the airplane, I want to see an elephant. We went 5 minutes, turned down the road to our house, and got to see that very elephant right there. But she participated in all that we did, and got to do the ministry work and interact with kids. And as an elderly person in Zambia, you gain great respect. And they honor an elderly person, and you don't have to be what we would call elderly. As long as you're older than the next person in Zambia, you're an elder, and they respect you for it, and they give you that, and they pay you that respect. But she got to do a lot of things, and a lot of bucket list items that she never thought possible would ever happen. So the three of us are now back together in the States, and we're traveling on our last leg before we head back to Africa in about a week. So I'm really happy to have my mom here and my wife as well. Zambia, just for your information, is a landlocked country in the south-southern part of Africa. It is about 800 miles wide. Texas is about 800 miles wide. So if you lay them together, that'll give you an idea of how big the country is that we reside in. And where we live, see if I can make this work. We are right down here, and this is the border of Zimbabwe and Zambia. And right here is Victoria Falls. Went the wrong way. Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's in our backyard. It's about 5 minutes away. Somebody says, "Can you hear the falls?" Yes, in the morning, about 5:30 in the morning, before the traffic starts up, on the heavy, when the heavy time, when the falls are heavy, we can hear the roar of the falls. We can even see the mist in the distance sometimes. So it's a great pleasure to live that close to Victoria Falls. In 2008, Ken and Karen were called to the mission field while on a mission trip to Zambia. I don't know why we ever went on that mission trip. Before I went, I would have never considered the idea that I would be a missionary on the mission field, but God completely changed us on that trip. It was a miraculous, life-changing moment that I've shared with you before, and I won't bore you with it again today, but anyway, God changed us. He took all of our wants and changed them into wanting to be on the mission trip, wanting to be in Zambia, wanting to be missionaries, wanting to do what we've been doing for the past 15 years, loving every minute of it, and can't wait for the next day to come so we can get back. But since that time, we've been involved in this ministry called Come Go With Us. We started it. We're independent missionaries. We created our own nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3, federally allowed to accept donations and be on the mission field. And our mission ministry has grown from just working at an orphanage when we first arrived to various ministry aspects. And this is now 15 years on the mission field, and things have grown quite a bit. We can't possibly say we've done it on our own because we haven't. We've had a lot of help. A lot of mission teams have come. A lot of interns have come. A lot of Zambian nationals are working with us, and the ministry is growing in a mighty way. Part of what we do, I'll just list a couple of things. What I want to do is talk to you about some of the main focuses that we have on the field and what our current trajectory is on how we want to move forward. One of those is working with pastors. We learned very early that the Zambian pastors are woefully untrained, unskilled. Some of them don't even own Bibles. And even if they own a Bible, it might be a Bible that was given to them. And it might be just like a King James Bible that maybe have 10 pages of concordance in it or something. So it's very difficult, number one, to understand the Queen's English, and number two, to gather the insights from the Bible that we have the pleasure of being able to do with Google and seminaries and literature that help us understand the Bible. They don't have those things, so they're very much behind the times in their ability to function as pastors. We've been working with about almost 100 of them for probably a good 10 years. This past year, Shadow Mountain Church in San Diego sent a team to help us do some pastor training, and they brought 65 David Jeremiah study Bibles to give to our guys, teach them how to use the study Bible. Spent 3 days working with them. We try to do that as much as we can year after year to provide them as much education as possible. Our outreach efforts in Zambia are centered around going into the rural areas. We live in a town, but we go out into the rural areas where the people live in mass. They live in small villages, in grass huts with mud walls or sometimes no walls. And there's no very good roads. So to get to the locations requires an effort, and that effort is several hours long just to get there. So if you're going to go out and minister in the bush, you're not likely to accomplish anything if you have to get back before dark. Otherwise, you'd be driving all day long and you'd never stop. So we stop for a couple of days, intermingle with the people, teach, train, baptize, evangelize, do whatever is necessary for that particular endeavor. And we call it a bush trip because we're going into the bush. We call anything outside the rural areas is the bush. And we call it a bush trip. And the way we've come up with funding bush trips is to take the cost of that ministry over a year's time, divide that by the number of times we go out, and we come up with a unit cost of about $500 for each bush trip that we take. And then we allow people to sponsor those bush trips so that we go vicariously in their name. We go on the trip, we videotape everything we see, we document it, we interview, we document everything that happens, and then we put together a little video clip a little video DVD, not a DVD anymore, but just a little small video documenting what that trip experienced in your behalf. Send that video clip back to the donor so that they can then share with their class or their family or their church. This is what we sponsored. This was our journey into the mission field. The Buckners went there on our behalf. We funded it. The fruit that was born on that trip came as a result of that. They're just sharing with us what we did. So come go with us is an invitation for, it's just not about Ken and Karen. It's about all of us that God has called together in this big family that he's connected with so many different relationships that have been, so we've all been called to this mission field. And the bush trip is one way that we can get those activities funded and get the people involved in ministry as well. The bush is a wonderful place. It's a difficult place, but the people there are amazingly receptive because they know that they're in a bad situation under witchcraft and cultural animism and cultural understanding. It's not Christianity. When they get an opportunity to be shown the gospel, they soak it like a sponge. They crave it. And there's no shame in saying, I have accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and personal Savior this day. They're very, very, very receptive. So it's not uncommon to see a lot of people come to the outings that we have in the evening, no power. They've never seen television, so we show the Jesus film on a big screen, and it blows their mind. But then they hear the story of Jesus Christ told in their language, which is what the Jesus film does, and that blows their hearts. And we have seen so many receptions of that. It's just amazing. And every time we go on a trip, the Jesus film, the evangelism, the work it's done always bears fruit, and we've always been amazed at what we've seen in that regard. So a bush trip is one of the ways we do outreach ministry, and it can be sponsored. It's a $500 sponsorship. Another part of our ministry is what we call the Good News Club. Karen is a gifted teacher of children. She is a magnet for children, and and she has a love for children. You take all those ingredients, and you have a great teacher of the gospel to a small child. I'm not such an individual. I'm likely to cause damage. But she doesn't do that, and they gravitate to her, and so the ministry of the Good News Club is taken from a model from the States where we have afternoon ministry for schools, and she's put it into like a weekly vacation Bible school type environment. So it's about 2 hours of working with the kids, and we started that in our home, offering the Good News Club on Saturdays. We found out there was a compound about a mile or so from us. It had over 6,000 kids in that compound. And so we started the Good News Club, and it grew from there. Here is Karen explaining a little bit about how that came about.
My name is Karen Buckner. My husband and I are missionaries in Zambia, Africa. We love the people, they're precious. We love the culture. I am really fond of the warm weather. We really, really love being here. Good News Club is kind of like a backyard Bible study. I heard about it maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and I thought, oh, this would be great for Zambia. And so we put out signs, made a few announcements in the classrooms, and the next Saturday we had 60 children show up. The Good News Club started in our open-air garage at our home with just 60 children. We now have grown to a huge number of like 400 and 500, and we were blessed to have the Freeman and Miller family come together and help us build a structure big enough to hold all those children. We have so much fun at the Good News Club. The children learn Bible verses. We sing praise and worship for children. We have a Bible study lesson, of course, and we have an object lesson to kind of drive that home. So the children have an amazing time. They enjoy it. We start the Good News Club around 10 o'clock in the morning, and 8 6:30, they're already lining up at the gate to come in. So that's kind of a testimony of what the Good News Club is here and how much they love it. And the teachers in the schools, the headmaster, even the parents are telling us that they have seen such a difference in their children, their attitudes, their behavior. So we're very excited to see that Jesus is making a difference in the lives of these children. We're a part of many ministries here, but it is certainly by far my favorite.
So the Good News Club happens every Saturday during the school season, which happens 3 months, and then they're off a month. 3 months, they're off a month. That's how the schools go. So they take off about once every 3 months for a month. Let us regroup and get rested up, because it's quite a challenge to do that every single week. We've had as many as 900 kids on one weekend. So it's a very impactful ministry that we're involved with, that Karen's doing a tremendous job putting the love of Jesus in these children's hearts and minds. That pavilion that was built was sitting on a piece of property that was taken from us. This is one negative that we've experienced in the past year. God has blessed us in so many ways, and actually taking that land away from us became a blessing in disguise also. And I really don't have time to go into that right now at this point, but I'll be happy to share it anytime. But basically, the property was stolen, and we had to move our shelter off of that property. The chief felt sorry for us and gave us an even bigger piece of property, which we are now waiting to get certified so that we can put a building on it. And so we're raising funds to build some kind of pavilion that will house about 400 or 500 kids on a weekly basis. And we're also going to be able to put our church right next to that pavilion that we've already raised the funds for. We're just waiting for the title deed to come in so that we can start digging holes and digging foundations. But we are raising funds for the Good News Club Pavilion. The kids are on break right now, and they always take off during the rainy season, which ends in March. So April, we've got to find a place for those kids by April. We're not sure where that's going to be right now. We hope it's some kind of pavilion. There's time to build one. It's just a matter of getting the funds. But God will provide when He's ready, and if He feels like it's necessary. We just think it is, and we're asking. So the Good News Pavilion is on our target list. Another area that we spend a lot of time with is Bibles. There are so few Bibles available. We have taken many Bibles overseas over the last 15 years. There's nowhere near enough. We don't realize how important a Bible is, because we can go down to Walmart and lay $6 down and get a Bible. And then we put that in our guest room. And we might buy a couple more for our other bedrooms, and a nice big one over the coffee table. And all, a Zambian really has very little opportunity. And when they do, they cherish it mightily. We as many times as we can, we give out Bibles in the bush. There's always more hands reaching out for the Bibles than we can fill. And to give you an idea just how valuable the Bible is, Karen's involved with a group of ladies in town. It's a Bible study they've put together, and they've been meeting for some 2 or 3 years now. And she had the opportunity just this past year to give each one of those ladies a brand new, nice leather Bible, and as a gift. You can't imagine how they responded to that, but just take this picture that's coming up, and you can see this is Bestina. She was given a Bible. And I don't know how many possessions Bestina has, but I can assure you her number one possession now is that Bible. You could have given her a Cadillac, and I don't think you'd have got a better response. But we do what we can to get Bibles there. We like for churches to collect Bibles every now and then and have a Bible drive, fill them up, fill up a drum of Bibles. We've found a unique way to get things shipped to Zambia in 55-gallon drums or plastic drums. And just this past week, there it is. This past week, we shipped out 13 drums filled with medical supplies, Bibles, kids' clothing, school supplies, shoes, baby diapers. Karen will probably remember a thing or two. I can't remember. That's most of it. We filled it up, and it's now about a month into its 3 month journey to get over there. When we get on that side, we'll be able to receive it and use it in the ministry in a way that helps us to put a smile on their face as we try to put a smile on their heart with the gospel. So to sponsor a drum, if you're interested, it costs about $400 to buy the drum and to ship it over. It doesn't matter what you put in it or how heavy it is. You can send a drum filled with feathers, or you can send a drum filled with ball bearings. Cost the same. They do it based on volume. But that's our method of getting things overseas. This past year, we were very busy with a lot of different projects, a lot of ministry projects that we're going over that I'm sharing with you this morning. One thing in particular, we moved out of a house that we had been in since about 11 years. We had actually rented that house, hoped a long time to be able to buy it. It never worked out to our advantage to be able to do so. This past year, or a year and a half ago, a gracious donor helped us purchase another piece of property with a house on it that we have spent this entire year finishing, remodeling, and getting it ready for this coming year. So just as we left around November, all of our things came out of the old base into the new base. They're now waiting for us in boxes upon boxes so that when we get back, we'll have plenty of work to do. We don't even have a bed to sleep in when we get back. It's stacked up somewhere among a lot of boxes. For several years, we have known that we've needed a lot of help. And one of those ways of helping is in the way of interns, someone who can come and spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 2 years, 3 years, helping us in the ministry because we just can't cover it all ourselves. And your church even sent one individual, I can't remember his name, back in the day. It was Jared Rape came. We had a blast. We were talking this morning about some of the memories from when he come and spent his year. That boy's a nut. Anybody know that? He's a lot of fun, and he's willing to do anything. He's willing to serve in any way. He's willing to eat anything and go anywhere, night or day, regardless of the weather. Put a backpack on and send him up through several different countries, and he will be glad to do it. And if he's fortunate, he will live through it. But anyway, he was with us once. We've been fortunate to have a number of interns. We've never had enough. We've always felt woefully behind in having enough help. This particular year, God blessed us. A year and a half ago, Taylor Myers came. She's coming back in March, and she'll be with us at least 1 or 2 years ago before. She's not really sure. We've had some surprise interns this year. I want to tell you about a couple of them. This is this one right here. This is Kelly Furlong. Kelly, as he got towards retirement age, he began to feel a really strong tug to be a missionary. He really wanted to be an overseas missionary. And he's got a couple of little problems. He doesn't know how to preach. He can't teach. He doesn't like to stand up in front of a bunch of people. And so he's asking, how can I possibly be a missionary? How can I be effective on the mission field? And I said, well, what do you do? He said, well, I'm a diesel mechanic. And I said, well, we got 6 vehicles on our mission field that in our camp that are woefully needing help. We don't have very good mechanics in Zambia. You know, you take a vehicle in to get a starter replaced, and they're probably going to replace the battery with an old one so that they got to sell you a battery, and they'll probably put an old starter in that doesn't work. It's just that bad. So Kelly, long story short, he came and spent a month with us last year and went through all of our vehicles, got them all up to snuff, and worked with George, a young man that we put through mechanic school. He's just now getting into doing mechanics work. He's really green at it, but he and Kelly have worked on the phone quite a bit together. Every time George has a problem, Kelly talks to him and talks him through it. So he spent a month with us with that, and he's coming back this year to spend another month. As we were building that house, we had a number of issues that we couldn't deal with. Doors and window frames, door frames, cabinet work in the kitchen, door locks. Don Page from San Diego, California, heard about our need, said, I'd like to come spend 6 weeks with you and do whatever I can to help you. So he accomplished all the things that we needed this year that we couldn't do ourselves. We had no idea how it was going to get done, but God provided. So we've been very fortunate with these interns. The new house sleeps up to 22 people, and now we've got on the books this coming 2024, probably 5 interns that'll be coming to stay at various times. And we don't have a place to put them. We don't have a place for them to stay. So we have come up with a plan. We are fortunate to have some containers donated to us and that we have arranged in a form that you see here. And this is a 2-story unit. This container is all camping gear. This container is Good News Club supplies and large tools like table saws and power drills and things like that. This container is set up to sleep 18 pastors when we bring them in for pastor training in town. We've got accommodation for them right there. So the plan is to make this a 2-bedroom or a 2-room or a duplex, 2 apartments. This container, 2 apartments, and then the back container will be a community living room, dining room, and kitchen. And then we'll put a balcony all the way around and steps going up to it. That's our project that we have immediate need for because we got teams coming starting in May. So by May, the interns have got to be out. Their living quarters has to be at least available for them to live in. And this is that's kind of a drawing of what we're expecting to do. But the big thing is we need to pay for all that, and that's about a $20,000 bill. But as of yesterday, a phone call I got, or a text message I got last night, confirmed that we have now got that project funded. So we're very thankful for that, and we'll be starting right away as soon as we return. Just topics I'm sharing with you, just to kind of keep you up to date on how things are going. I don't know if you remember the old Land Cruiser we started in 2010. We bought this Land Cruiser from a missionary who had bought it at auction, where it was auctioned off by World Vision Corporation or Ministry. They bought it brand new, wore it out, put it up for auction. Joe Hayden bought it, wore it out, sold it to me for twice what it was worth. I didn't know. But since we've had it, early when we had got it, we needed to rebuild the motor. And I remember my very first meeting coming here to Mountain Springs Baptist Church. Brother McLean says, "What is your biggest need?" And I said, we need a new motor for that vehicle. And they wrote us a check to rebuild that motor right here in this church. First time we ever came here. Very thankful for that. But we have also rebuilt that motor 2 more times since then. I don't know how many times we've replaced suspension parts and clutch. Everything on it has been replaced multiple times. And so by last year, I was really concerned about that. There's a lot of cracks in the frame. It's starting to show serious age where I don't know how much more life it's really got. So we're very careful with it. We're babying it quite a bit, but we need a very heavy workhorse vehicle. And that's been our workhorse vehicle, but its time is very limited. And this church last year and a couple of other supporting churches last year provided us the funds to get, well, first of all, let me back up. That's Max. That's his name. We've named all of our vehicles. I meant to tell you about that. So thank you, Mountain Springs Baptist Church, for your assistance in helping us to obtain Agent 86, which is the new 2020 Toyota Land Cruiser beast of a 4x4 vehicle that'll go anywhere we want to go and probably as long as we'll ever live on the mission field. The other Land Cruiser was a 1999. It's now 2024, so what's that, 25 years. So that says Agent 86 should be around for 25 years if we take care of it. In 2020, we had a great need for a bus for our Good News Club, moving them people around. We've got Bible studies in town. We've got groups in town that we're always shifting people around with and needing a bus. Mission teams come. We have, we need big transportation for them. So a lady came on a mission trip. This is an example of Wayne and I were talking about this yesterday. Should you go on a mission trip or should you just send money? And you can argue both ways, but Francis Gregory went on a mission trip and understood the need that we had at the Good News Club, understood the need that we had for a bus. And she says, I'm going back to America and we're going to raise money for a bus. We came back, she within 6 months, she did a fundraising banquet and we raised $25,000 for this bus that we have fondly named Francis. The new news is Francis needs a sister or a brother. Because we're still short-handed in terms of capability and capacity of getting people around. So a bus is on the list of what we're needing to obtain now. Something new in 2023 that began as a seed in 2019, and it got interrupted by COVID-19. We had a team of soccer players come to Zambia in 2019, and they said, we want to do some ministry. Is there anything we can do sports related? So because Zambia is such a soccer-oriented country, Africa is a soccer-oriented, or football as they call it, oriented continent, we decided to have a soccer tournament. And the way we would do it, we would get those athletes we'd get 8 teams and put on a round-robin tournament, and we'd give them skills demonstration, we would share the gospel, let them play a game. Skills demonstration, share the gospel, and let them play a game. This is Scott, one of our interns, preaching to one of the teams before the game. We did that round and round through that tournament. Right before the last championship game, we did an evangelism calling for salvation. We had, out of 150 players, we had 45 of them give their lives to Christ at that tournament. We thought that was powerful. And then COVID kind of got in the way. 2023, we started that same project up again this past year, and we've done it this year several times, and it's been showing a tremendous amount of fruit. It's becoming a new ministry that will take up a lot of time. It'll require a lot of interns to help us do it, a lot of teams to help us pull it on, and we're looking forward to how that will move in this coming year. I won't skip by that. A number of things that we are looking for is sponsorships for tournaments. It's going to run about $600 to put on a given tournament. So here again, we'll offer the opportunity for people to sponsor a tournament, be a part of it in their name. We'll do the tournament. We'll document everything that takes place and send a DVD of that tournament back to the people who donated. Over the years, we've been working with about 25 churches in the area. Most of them do not have buildings. We've probably built, since 2013, 12 or 15 different church buildings. And we're trying not to teach them it's about a building, but when you're a church and you meet every Sunday under a big tree, year in and year out, you're okay during the dry season, but in the rainy season it's difficult. In the hot season it's difficult. So a building comes in quite handy. And we've been able to build about a dozen buildings over the year, these last 13 years. We've had a lot of mission teams come to Zambia, and we encourage that because we need every one of them to come help us do the work. There's so much work to do, and we share that work with them when they come, the teaching and the preaching and the conferences that we do, couples conferences, youth, women, etc. It's been a big team. We do it as a big team effort. Our staff started with one person in 2013, George Kashango. Did George ever come here by the chance? Did he visit? I don't think he did. We brought him to the States one time, but I don't think we brought him here. Anyways, we now have a staff of 16, plus interns, plus Ken and Karen. And this year, there's been so much construction going on that we have started that's not the reason we did it, but we started a devotional thing on Tuesday mornings from 9 to 10, where our staff stops and we have a weekly devotion. We ask the workers not to be working during that time, and they're free to come to the devotion if they want to. They all wanted to, so we've been doing it every week since then. But that's just a kind of a little rundown of the hot topics or the high points of where we've been and where we're headed. This is a little video clip that just kind of ties all that together and gives you a little visual of what Come Go With Us is all about. There's a lot of cost that I've talked about. There's a lot of effort has gone into this. A lot of teams have come. A lot of interns have come. A lot of work has been done in the 15 years that we've been involved. And the question that I ask is it worth it? A lot of effort, a lot of resources, a lot of money has been put into that ministry. Just to some highlights. We've purchased 6 vehicles, done major and minor repairs on those. We've retrofitted several of our vehicles for extreme off-road driving. We've taken over 300 bush trips at a cost of $500 a piece. We've built 15 churches since 2013. We have extensive audio, video cameras and computers and electronic equipment. Thousands of pounds of donated goods have come. And we've had 30 trips back and forth from Zambia to America. A lot of cost, a lot of expense has gone in, and the question is it worth it? These are the raw numbers. And I don't mind talking about the numbers, but being, bragging on what God has done. We've reached probably 75,000 people in the bush. That's what you have reached as a church. We've taken over 300 bush trips, over 3,000 students studying Bible. We think that we've seen over 25,000 salvations during this time. And so the question is it worth it? I just think this little clip here will answer that question. And in my opinion, it answers that question. It's worth it. That child, without the Good News Club, would not be doing that. Without that in his history, he wouldn't be that child where you train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from him. We hope that that child will one day be a pastor that will be a strong teacher and motivator to other pastors like him in his area. We thank you for your support for Come Go With Us over these years. I can't thank you enough for how much support this church has provided in terms of prayers and companionship and friendship and actually coming with us on the field. So thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and come go with us. That's our invitation.